Welcome to the Abuki Cabal Show.
What's up, fellas? Back again with a interesting little story that I ran across. Think you guys might like this one. So it looks like the Supreme Court is asked to review the men-only draft registration law. So I guess the ladies have been asking for equality to the point to where they're actually going to get it. I wonder how many ladies are going to be okay with this. How many are going to be, upset when they get the call, if they ever get the call to be drafted. See, everybody was okay as long as it was just men. They could draft all of the men up that they wanted to send them out. No matter what they wanted to do with their lives, they had to put that on hold and go ahead and go out and serve their country. I wonder how, but the only reason why this is a problem is because this is, women are comfortable here. We see this in other countries like Israel. Everybody in Israel has to serve, and you have beautiful women that serve, and they've been in calendars and all kind of publications that show the quality of women that are out in combat operations for the state there, and they do well with it. But they're a different breed. Women here in the States are not the types that are willing to sacrifice for the greater good, Join something that is bigger than themselves. What you hear mostly, when you hear most American women talking on every type of media, is mostly comfort. Things that'll make them more comfortable, things that'll make them more money, things that will enhance their beauty, things that'll make them feel better, things that bolster, their position, whether it be make-believe or realistic, in the world that they see themselves in. Some of these types have never been dirty in their life, never handled a weapon in their life, never really worked out in their life, as evidenced by the obesity rates in the States, especially in the Black community. Black women have it bad. Now imagine that people who, not just the people who want to go, but the people who don't want to go have to go. What do you guys think that'll be like? I think it'll be a whole lot of whining. I'd like to see it. I really would. I'd like to see them reverse this and give them what they want. They want equality, so let's make everything equal. Not just equal when it's good for you, but equal, I don't know what you guys think. What do you think? How do you think that will go over? Just look around and look at some of the people that you deal with, some of the women that you deal with every day, and just, tell me if you think that they could handle that. Especially if your prior service, and I've served with women, so I know what types would probably be, conducive to that type of lifestyle. And it's not a lot in the general population. But, hey, sometimes, hardship can hammer, softness into steel, But let's take a look at this article. Okay. So here we go. Got a few pictures of the hardcore ladies there. Got their Ranger patches on there. Save that for another day. So, according to the Associated Press, the Supreme Court is being asked to decide whether it's sex discrimination for the government to require only men to register for the draft when they turn 18. The question of whether it's constitutional to require men but not women to register could be viewed as one with little practical impact. The last time there was a draft was during the Vietnam War, and the military has been all volunteer since. But the registration requirement is one of the few remaining places where the federal law treats men and women differently. And women's groups are among those arguing that allowing it to stand is harmful. So here you have a situation where I guarantee you have women who haven't served, who have no interest in serving, but want to sacrifice these ladies, these young women, for the greater good of their cause, which is, they want women to be pushed out there so that they can finally get what they've been fighting for ever since, the 60s. Now, we got to ask ourselves, is that fair to these women who, for the most part, have been indoctrinated into a system that they don't even, they're parroting out feminist ideals and concepts. They don't even know where this stuff came from. I know because I've asked numerous women. Do you know where that comes from? You're saying these things, but do you know where it comes from? They don't know anything about Betty Friedan or any of these other people, bell hooks. They don't know anything about these people, but they're parroting out these talking points from the 60s. Gloria Steinem and all these women, they're parroting these things out, and they weren't even a part of that movement. You have women who are saying these things, and when you ask them if they're a feminist, they say they're not a feminist, but you sound like a feminist. Everything that you're saying is a feminist. Everything that you get angry about is feminism. And we hear this over and over and over. So let's get on back into the article. The justices could say as soon as Monday whether they will hear a case involving the Military Selective Service Act, which requires men to register for the draft. Rita Tobacco Marr, the director of the American Civil Liberties Union Women's Rights Project, who is urging the court to take up the issue, says requiring men to register imposes a serious burden on men that's not being imposed on women. Hey, good for her. Men who do not register can lose eligibility for student loans, civil service jobs. Failing to register is also felony punishable by a fine of up to $250,000 and 5 years in prison. But Tobacco Marr says the male-only requirement does more than that. It's also sending a tremendously harmful message that women are less fit than men to serve their country in this particular way. And conversely, that men are less fit than women to stay home as caregivers in the event of an armed conflict. We think those stereotypes demean both men and women, she said. Even if the draft is never used again, retaining the men-only requirement sends a really damaging message, said Tabak Omar, who represents the National Coalition for Men and 2 individual men challenging the law. A group of retired senior military officers and the National Organization for Women's Foundation are among the others urging the court to take the case. If the court agrees to hear the case, it wouldn't be deciding whether women have to register, just whether the current system is constitutional. If it isn't, then it would then be up to Congress to decide how to respond, either by passing a law requiring everyone to register or deciding registration is no longer necessary. I wonder what they'll decide. The issue of who has to register for the draft has been to the court before. In 1981, the court voted 6-3 to uphold the men-only registration requirement. At the time, the decision was something of an outlier because the court was regularly invalidating gender-biased distinctions in cases about other areas of the law. Many of those cases were brought by the founding director of the ACLU's Women's Rights Project, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who became a justice in 1993. The last time the High Court considered the Military Selective Service Act, then Justice William Rehnquist explained that the purpose of registration was to prepare for a draft of combat troops. He said that because women could not serve in combat, the law was not unlawful sex discrimination that violated the Constitution. But military policy has changed. In 2013, the Department of Defense lifted the ban on women serving in combat. 2 years later, the department said all military roles would be open to women without exception. Just last year, a congressional commission concluded that the time is right to extend the obligation to register to women. The current desperate treatment of women unacceptably excludes women from a fundamental civic obligation and reinforces gender stereotypes about the role of women, undermining national security, the commissioner said in a report. The Biden administration is urging the justices not to take the case and to let Congress instead tackle the issue. Administration lawyers wrote in a brief that the reconsideration of the constitutionality of the male-only registration requirement would be premature at this time because Congress is actively considering the issue. The Selective Service System, the agency that oversees the registration, said in a statement that it doesn't comment on the pending litigation, but that it is capable of performing whatever mission Congress should mandate. If the court agrees to take the case, arguments wouldn't happen until the fall at the earliest. After the court's summer break, the court already has a high-profile case awaiting it then. They include a major challenge to abortion rights and an appeal to expand gun rights. The case about the draft is National Coalition for Men versus Selective Service System 20-928. Okay. So, that leads into the next major challenge about, abortion rights. And I kind of feel like they're probably going to get rid of abortion because of the birth rates being as low as they are, in decades. And this is a problem. And I think they're going to get rid of abortion because they want those numbers back up. I think a lot of women are not going to be happy. And it's probably going to change a lot of how we do things. And I don't know, maybe rightly so, maybe not. This is very interesting. Very, very interesting. So I want to know what you guys think about this, whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. You know, it's unless we go to war, it's not really going to be, it's not gonna affect them, but a lot of women worry a lot. So if they have to go in there and they have to, register for selective service, I think, that may put a little heat on some folks. But how do you guys feel about, these older ladies who, have no interest in going that route, basically putting that responsibility on these young women who may or may not even want to do that. What do you guys think about that? I think, I don't know. I think you guys know what I think, but this is very interesting. I think I probably said enough. You guys like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you guys sticking around with me, helping me grow my channel, and it's been fun.
You are listening to Abuki Cabal, the analytical savage.
I feel like a motherless child, a long way from home.